welcome to the Never Seen It podcast, the only podcast called Never Seen It that's worth listening to. With us tonight, as always, Mr. Arnie, the one-man partay, a.k.a. Arnold Callego, Mr. Daily Dares, a.k.a. Filipino Grigio, a.k.a. Alex Callego, the brothers Callego, Mr. Donnie Appleseed, a.k.a. Donnie Guzman, the cousins Callego, Mr. Ghost Nerd 88, a.k.a. Justin Holden, and then there is me, Boots Too Big, a.k.a. Adrian Villatore. And tonight we are discussing the 2004 film Takeout by directors Shih-Ching Tsou and Sean Baker, who are both collaborators, by the way, and we'll get into that. An illegal Chinese immigrant falls behind on payments on an enormous smuggling debt. Ming Ding has only until the end of the day to come up with the money. Very simple plot, very complex story, in the sense that there's so many layers to, I think, the immigrant story in America, and specifically in New York City, where the main character, Ming, played by Charles Zhang, has to hustle his way through the mean streets of New York, delivering Chinese takeout. And this movie made me so hungry that I myself went to a Chinese restaurant, a very authentic place here in town. Like, you guys may have heard of it, Panda Express. Really good, really good. But it was really good, actually. And yeah, I kind of want to get, I want to go to New York City to get an authentic slice of New York pizza and authentic New York style Chinese food. Because I have a feeling that New York Chinese food is going to hit different than West Coast Chinese food. But that's just what I think. But I could be wrong.
The water they use.
It is well, yeah, that's what I hear with the bagels too. You got to get the bagels.
Yeah.
Bagels. But Alex, I believe you chose this movie, correct? Why did you choose Takeout?
I chose this movie because it's part of the lineup for the San Diego Asian Film Festival, and they're showing a restored 4K version of it on Saturday. Which by the time this gets released, the San Diego Asian Film Festival will have already passed. But anybody who's listening should go watch it on HBO Max, because, as we get into it, this is a very simple story, complex at the same time. But I also chose it because of the closing night film that's being screened at the San Diego Asian Film Festival is a new film called Left-Handed Girl, and it's directed by Shih-Ching Tsou, the co-director of Takeout. I believe that's another reason why they're screening Takeout at the San Diego Asian Film Festival, or what we film lovers in San Diego and us in this circle of friends, the NSIP circle of friends known as the SADAF. We're affectionately calling it the SADAF. So
nice.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's the reason why I chose this film, and I've been wanting to put this, and also it's co-directed by Sean Baker, one of our we're a fan favorite of ours. A lot, obviously. Yeah. We did Honora, and our lost episode, Florida. One of our lost episodes, Florida Project,
which was such a good discussion, by the way. I remember. Yeah.
But I can't wait to redo that episode, which we have several friends who haven't seen it yet, and I think it's gonna be a good discussion once again. But yeah, you could tell that this movie Takeout has Sean Baker's fingerprints all over it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That cinema verité style, as they call it, that sort of almost like documentary style, the way he films it in the streets of New York with the camera, just like, I don't want to call it shaky cam, but it's very feels like improvised filming, right? And it feels so gritty and realistic. And he did that in Tangerine. He did that a little bit in a Florida Project, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. You know what I like about that why it complements that his style complements this movie so well is it kind of recreates the claustrophobic nature of New York.
Yeah. He does a lot of close-ups, and I believe he only does close-ups because, well, not only, part of the reason I think is because they sort of filmed it guerrilla style, right? And
I believe so.
You would have real-life extras in the background, I'm imagining, probably looking at a person filming. So, because I noticed there was one shot where you could almost see like somebody kind of looking into the camera, but he framed it in a way where you couldn't really fully see their face. But he did that a lot, though. He did that a lot during the deliveries, I noticed. Did you guys notice that? He like would have someone open the door and they would be partially obscured or completely obscured, you know, as he was handing them like their food and stuff. And then there were times when, with the more mean customers, he would like fully show their face, and I'm like, yeah, like he really wants to show you, like, yeah, this person who's being an asshole. But yeah, who else hadn't seen it besides I know myself and Arnold. Had you seen it before? You hadn't seen it before.
I don't think any of us have seen it.
Oh, okay, good.
I've never seen it either. Yeah.
So we're all watching this with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the what's the character? I don't remember his name, but his coworker basically, who like says, "Take all my deliveries today," and
Young.
That guy just kind of hung around the restaurant all day, and I was kind of surprised. Like nobody was telling. I mean, someone did mention it at one point, but I would have thought somebody would be like, "Why aren't you out doing deliveries? Like, what the hell's going on?" That was the only part that kind of made me feel like would that happen in real life? I don't know how realistic that would be, but I thought that was interesting.
Couple deliveries.
Yeah, he may have taken stuff like that. It doesn't, yeah.
He did like 3, and then Ming did like the other 42.
Oh, was it 42?
I don't know.
Was it that many?
Throwing
oh, I mean, I would believe you because
6'7" or 6'9".
That's never gonna die. That reference, I think. We're gonna do that on every episode.
If that reference doesn't die, I surely will take my own life.
Well, don't do that. But anyways, yeah, 2004, such a year for this type of movie to come out. It takes me back to high school because I remember making little short movies and dumb stuff in my film video class, and we had cameras that basically the same quality that you see in this movie, and it just, the era also was so palpable because this is like a few years after 9/11, which is referenced in this movie, because a big part of it is like immigrating to the U.S. from China, and then like the fact that there's no smartphones yet. Like this movie came out a few years before Facebook, a few years before the iPhone. I mean, do you guys think that logistically things would have worked out differently if Ming had a smartphone and a way to like more quickly navigate through New York City, or how do you think that would have shaked out in today's world anyway?
I feel like he got around pretty good on the bike.
Yeah.
Other than like him getting a flat tire.
Yeah. That's the other thing I was wondering. So how does it work? Does anybody know? Like in New York, a takeout place like that, are they on like, we only do like within a 2-mile radius, a 3-mile radius? Like
Typically they do like a certain mile radius. I remember when our older brother Donnie used to deliver for Shakey's back in like 96, 97. He would, like, during the summer, he'd come out, stay in Palm Springs after, during college. And then he'd do deliveries, and they're like, there's a certain radius, and then certain neighborhoods they wouldn't take deliveries to. They're like the dangerous
like
ones.
Bad
They're
neighborhoods.
like bad neighborhoods, yeah. Like notably bad
DHS.
neighborhoods. Well, I mean, that was out of the radius. For sure, but I do believe it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know the mile radius it was, but I think it was like a 5 to 10 mile radius. I'm not sure, but that's 10 miles is as far away as insane.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a long
always
time.
thinking of like the radius in like San Diego now, where it's like 10 miles is not that far, But then in Palm Springs, 10 miles is pretty far.
Right.
Well, when you think of New York, it's like it's a lot of it's vertical, right? They all live in like
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all compact. So I'm sure there's so many different restaurants there that anybody who's going to order from there is a neighbor of the restaurant itself.
And the reason why I bring up the logistics is because Ming seemed so miserable. And I was thinking as I was watching it, not just because he owes these 2 loan sharks money, it was like $800 some or something like that. And he was able to borrow some of it from who was that girl, by the way, that he borrowed some money from in the beginning? I didn't really understand that part.
I think it was just like a friend.
Okay.
Like I don't know. Maybe it could have been a family member. They don't really clarify it. At least I don't recall.
So he started off at 500, right? Like he only had to come up with 3. Is that right?
350, I think.
350,
300.
Yeah.
She gave her a big chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big chunk.
Yeah,
and then he asked his friend for 300. and then he only had like 150, right? What was his name? Young.
Yeah. So then that's, I'm bad at math. So what is that? What does that bring him to?
150. 150.
Okay.
And then he said the most that he's ever made in tips in a day was $90, and then that's when Young was like, here he was just a homie. I was like, take all my deliveries today.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I was saying he looked miserable the entire time because of that, and then also because of the fact that throughout so much of the movie he's just in bad weather and he's like having issues with his bike, and he's dealing with all the traffic and terribleness.
Well, he's also in pain too after he gets hit by that hammer.
He got a little
where
visit.
Did he hit him? Was it on his back or his shoulder? I wasn't.
I think it was both.
It was both. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the guy in the beginning, the loan shark guy brings out a hammer. It looked like a mallet, by the way. I don't even know if it was a hammer. It looked like a mallet to me, and he just went boop, boop, very soft, and then walked away. And I was like, oh, okay. But
I don't think they show him coming down with the hammer, but they don't see it actually hit. You just hear the thud.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I was like, that's why I wasn't sure how much of an injury he sustained from that. But I'm reading now that this film was entirely funded by Sean Baker and Shih-Ching Tsou, and as a result of the near non-existent budget, the duo were unable to afford actual crew members for the film production. So they were hustling too, making this movie, I would imagine, because that's a lot of work, especially when you're filming in a busy urban environment like New York City. And then they filmed it during actual takeout restaurant operating hours. Which is interesting as well. So that's how I guess
Sean Baker nature.
Yeah, he really has a knack. I feel like him and the Safdie brothers really have a knack for filming this documentary guerrilla style storytelling. And with just off the cuff, like what looks like off the cuff. And I also think it's interesting that it's two directors that are not related to each other. Normally, when you have duo directors, it's like the Farley brothers, the Coen brothers, the Duplass brothers. And here you have a man and a woman, and not related to each other, presumably, and they did this movie together. I mean, I find that so interesting. I don't know how many movies there are like that out there. So I thought that was an interesting. That alone was like I wonder how they sort of divvied up the work of a director. So I found that interesting. But
I would assume that the way they divvied up the work was to the languages, right? Because it was spoken mainly in Cantonese, at least in the shop, and then Sean Baker probably handled a lot of the English language stuff. That's what I would assume.
And it's interesting also that the main character, Ming, barely talks throughout the entire movie. Like it's not a dialogue heavy movie at all. And the characters that do talk are like mostly the customers, the people back at the restaurant, like the staff there cooking and all that. But Ming himself, like he doesn't have a lot of verbal communication with the customers. And then there's that scene. Is it the coworker telling him? Teaching him English phrases, I believe. I forget what what he was. I thought that was funny.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
much.
And teaching him how to smile.
Which he didn't do still, I guess.
Smile. Like, smile. I mean, I hate that shit. The whole like, oh, you should smile. It provides better customer service or better tips. I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, I'm having the worst day of my life. You think I'm gonna fucking smile? I hate people that are like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's already having such a miserable day, and then they're coaching him on how to smile and stuff. But the other aspect, I mean, what did you guys think about the fact that like it's not a very dialogue heavy film, as I said, and they really know how to capture the vibes of like, because this felt like a documentary to me in some way. Really know how to capture the sort of realistic vibes of whatever story they're telling. What did you guys think about that? Like, with the sound design and the rain and the lighting, like, did you guys kind of like just get that certain gritty vibe from it?
Well, it can't rain all the time.
Yeah.
I was like during that scene when he was talking about like the rain and stuff like that, I was half expecting one of them to be like, well, it can't rain all the time. For real. In my opinion, this film is very melancholic, very hellscape-ish in a way, and it's like someone's reality out there. And it's not even just like a singular person's reality. It's like more than not, there's probably a bunch of people, even in this day and age, that are like trying to hustle like this, whether like they owe to loan sharks or they're just trying to make rent for the night. You know, I've been in that situation a few times in my life where I'm like, wow, like you know, I'm gonna just share some sad shit, but I remember one time when I was in Palm Springs and I didn't have a job. I was just doing DoorDash, and I was, you know, starting to get a little bit behind on funds. So I had the electricity company call me one time, and they're like, hey, if you don't pay this amount by 8 p.m. tonight, we're shutting off your electricity. And I was like, oh shit. And I don't even have that much money to begin with. And it's like, at that point, I'm like, well, do I save this money for rent or do I save this money for paying off electricity? And I didn't have enough for either or. I was like struggling. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just like went out there and I grinded. I did DoorDash, and I believe I did like Uber and Uber Eats at the same time. So not only was I picking up orders, I was also picking up people, and I was just trying to hustle. And I made just enough money in just enough time. I think it was literally like 30-ish, somewhere around there. And I made enough money. The other thing that really stressed me out was that the money didn't hit my account right away. I was like, literally, I went to do instant transfer, and it was like it just happened to be one of those days the instant transfer didn't transfer like right then. So I had to wait, and I was waiting. I was sweating, and I think I cut it close to the deadline. So I like called the person at the electric company. And by the way, I also found out that yes, the customer service for the electric company, they do stick around till like after 8, specifically for that reason, which I later found out, to collect money. Anyway,
That's crazy.
yeah, so I waited, and then like photo finish, man, I was able to pay, but it's just like I managed to keep my electricity on, and then I had to figure out rent, which was a whole other story. But it's like, you know, I can understand the struggle. His struggle is far more than mine because I don't deal with loan sharks at all. But I mean, dealing with loan companies in general is still not fun either. So,
well, your story is very, very, very relatable to me as well. I've been in that almost exact same scenario. And here's the thing: is that most Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless. Like the majority of people are one paycheck away or one medical emergency away from ending up on the streets. So, but I was thinking about that, and then also the fact that like as just being born in this country is like such a huge privilege, you know, like the immigrant struggle is so much more real. Like they have the struggles that your average American citizen might have, on top of like being not from this country, not knowing the language and all that. And then like you have family across the sea, like his character, his wife and his kid were still in China. And I'm just like, man, like as bad as I feel like I have it some days, like there's people out there, like you said, like this is somebody's life probably even still today. You know, it might be a little bit easier today with technology, but you know, it's the struggle's still there. Go ahead.
I saw this video recently on Instagram talking about how originally in the Philippines, nurses, they had that nursing program, right, where they promised like a better life in America. They brought these nursing programs to the Philippines to basically teach them to become nurses, because the need for nurses in America was really big. And so they had promised this whole thing where like, you come here, learn to be a nurse, we'll get you into the US. But the promise of a better life was like very much a broken promise. They basically were indentured slaves. Like if you broke the contract, you could be sent back to the Philippines, and they held onto your green card and passport, and basically you couldn't. It was just like an awful time. Like you were basically in debt by the time you got to the America already. You're already in like huge debt, and it was just really sad. And to this day, you still see that sort of stuff. You see it in, I mean, obviously this is a fictional story, but that's not too far off from like what a lot of immigrants have to deal with.
It feels so real. You know what I mean? It feels so real. Like the struggle is so palpable with this guy, you know? And like you just feel so bad for him. And I was wondering how the loan shark thing would shake out in the end. Like I thought that we would see them again in the end. We don't. But yeah, just the idea that he owes these people money and they're going to hurt him if he doesn't pay up is, I don't know.
I was half expecting the loan sharks to be like a part of one of his deliveries. I would have been like, they're going to like order something and they're going to be like, where's your money? Here's a reminder. You know, those like cartoony villain type of things, but
where's my food and my money?
With each delivery, I kept thinking like, oh, is this going to be something weird that happens, or like, but then it was just like, oh, just a standard delivery. Oh, they tipped him, and then on to the next one. But I kept thinking like, oh, this is a kind of sketchy looking building, but that's just New York, Chinatown.
And what do you guys think about the fact that like there isn't really a lot of big major plot points in this movie? It really is just him hustling all day, and then they have vignettes back at the Chinese restaurant with the crew there and just their sort of day-to-day lives. And the contrast between him dealing with shitty customers and like Big Sister, I think was her name, kind of like having this back and forth with certain customers that are regulars who are like giving her shit about like the price and what did you include napkins or my duck sauce or whatever it was. I thought that was such a funny contrast between like her, you know, bantering with the customers while taking orders, while talking to the kitchen, and you know it's like busy, but she like has the sense of humor and all that. And poor Ming is over here, and some guy's like, you forgot my whatever. I ordered beef, not chicken. You guys fucking people, like, and I'm like, Jesus, dude, like. Yeah. It was a lot.
I like how she would like talk shit in Chinese about the customers and their faces.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't understand.
It's like, so accurate.
That was great.
In Chinese.
I thought it was interesting when, or I felt it was kind of dystopian when people were trying to like barter like a price, like for just like even a dollar off. I thought that was interesting. The guy was like, oh. Well, I thought this was $3.25, and she kept telling him it's $4.25, and then like I guess she gave him like a small little discount anyway, and he's like, oh, you gave me a discount anyway, you know, type of deal. I'm like, bro, it's $4.25 for all this food. I'm like, god damn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you remember the halcyon days of cheap lunch, like lunch under $5? There's no way you get that now.
Yeah,
it's because there's a lot of like. See you next week. There's a lot of like street vendors in New York, and like you're expected to almost barter with everybody. So that's just like their mentality out there.
Is that like a New York thing or an East Coast thing? Or...
I mean, when I went out there, it was like I was able to barter, but I saw everybody else doing it, and I kind of read about it. I kind of did some research before I went out there.
I've never bartered for anything in my life,
especially in Chinatown.
Yeah, in Chinatown especially.
Chinatown and LA, you had the Santee markets, or
same thing, right?
or in Tijuana. I remember
those are not written in stone. Those prices aren't written down in stone. Yeah, you go to Santine, you can totally barter.
But you can't walk into like Walmart and be like, "No, I'm only paying $2 for this chocolate bar, not $2.25."
No, I'm talking about like small businesses, mom and pop shops type.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. You can't go into a big corporate box store, right, and be like,
"No,
actually."
Go to Starbucks and haggle your out.
Right? Yeah. No, it's no disrespect to like the mom and pop shops either, but it's like. At the same time, everybody else is struggling also, you know? So I think that's why they're just like automatically like, oh, let me see if I can get a better deal.
Well, you might be able to barter with McDonald's because they'll miss shit. There was one specific shot that looked like it was an open container, and there was like rice, and then she puts like looked like a big piece of fried chicken on top of it, and then she closed it. Did you guys catch that at all?
Yeah, I did.
I'm like, is that just like a thing you can order? Like a big ass piece of, it looked good too, like a big piece of chicken on top of rice. I don't know.
I remember, why not?
Also, what is duck sauce? Because I feel like I've had it, but I can't remember what it tastes like.
Sweet
and sour sauce.
Yeah. All right, mystery solved.
I remember there used to be this one Chinese restaurant out here in Palm Springs, North Palm Springs, and then they had a chicken, like a roast chicken dish on their menu, and it was like one of the best roast chickens that I ever had. I can't remember the name of it. No. It was. Remember, there's a that dispensary just in North Palm Springs, kind of close to the Cole. Pariah. Do you remember Pariah, Alex?
Yeah.
Man,
That was a Thai
Oh,
restaurant,
gosh.
wasn't it?
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. Pariah is Thai, right?
Yeah. They were really good. They're like one of my
Yeah.
favorite Thai restaurants out there.
Some drunken noodle.
I love
Arnold,
me some drunken noodle.
Arnold, you know what you should do? Seriously, you should do like a cooking video, like cooking videos, but like stuff from movies that we've talked about, and you could still make it up. I think that'd be fun as hell. Like you
know
could
what?
make something from this movie easily. You know
Make
what I
that
mean?
fried chicken and rice.
Fried chicken and rice, my friend.
You know
It's
what?
a mystery meat
And I remember
on
I was
top.
talking about this, and I did the a Cubano. I recorded the content and everything. This was years ago. I still have it. I'm just a lazy guy, man. I gotta, it's all in your head when it comes to creating the content and executing. You just gotta execute. You just gotta do it. And like, but then I'm like, oh, but I don't feel like it. I wanna just chill. I never have a chance to just like. But then I'm always saying that I never have a chance to chill. I never have a chance to chill. But I chill like every day.
You're chilling right now.
Chilling. We chilling right here.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? It's fine. If you ever just get the wild hair, make the video, send it to me, and I'll put it together. I think that would be so fun to see you, because you're a good cook from what I can tell, and I think that would be just a fun project. So let me know.
I was wondering, how do the the rice, the fried rice that they were how do like Chinese restaurants, they get it so like yellow like that? I mean, is it turmeric?
And
No,
it must be some kind of
what
spice.
they do is they use egg, and they also use the what do you call it? The chicken base.
Yeah,
The
bouillon.
Okay.
whatever the
Bouillon?
what do you call it? The Nor seasoning.
Nor
chicken bouillon.
Suiza.
The chicken
yeah.
bouillon.
I have to
Yeah.
imagine that the craft services on this movie was bomb. Like, they were making that food for real, and they were probably serving it to the cast and crew. Well, I guess the very small crew.
That was a real
cast.
restaurant.
It was a real, yeah. It looks
Yeah,
super
yeah.
real. But yeah, what else? Because I feel like there's so much more. Yeah, the movie, like I said, there's not a lot in terms of plot, but it still works because you know what the stakes are, and that's one thing you always learn about in writing is having good stakes, and the stakes for this guy were pretty high, right?
Well, one of the things
ahead.
too that I really liked about this movie is they really utilized New York. 'Cause we always talk about like New York and like cities becoming a character, and
Yeah.
New York was really, they utilized New York like as a character. You didn't really have to do a lot because you see Ming traveling through the city, and you see the harshness of it, the harshness of the reality he's living in. Having to like navigate those streets, and we were talking about like, oh, how would they have done this before? Because I feel like we think about this all the time with like cell phones and everything, but like he's lived there for a little bit, but I feel like back then we adapted to that way of life because we just memorized streets. We just we utilized maps. If we didn't, we weren't familiar with an area, we would just drive around or walk around or ride our bikes around and learn the area. And I believe that's what he did. They probably even had maps at the restaurant. I remember Donnie was saying that like when he was working for Shakey's, they had a map of Palm Springs area, like where he would have to go and like, okay, this is where it's at. And then he would sometimes write down the directions.
Alex, you reminded me of a story. We all have a mutual friend, Christina and Donald. But one time when we were in high school, I drove to LAX.
Other Donald mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
The other Donald mentioned, yeah. I drove Christina's parents' car because they were coming home from the Philippines and they had luggage. And so we took two cars. I drove one car and we got separated because of the crosswalk. And this is pre-cell phone days, right? And so I literally couldn't find them for 3 hours. They were searching for me, and like we would both be going in circles and we couldn't find each other. And there was no way to contact each other. They finally found me after like 3 hours, just standing on the hill in LAX, just parked on the side of the road. And they were finally like, oh, I see Donald. And then they would drive off, and then by the time they'd come back, I'd be gone because I'd get like impatient. But we finally, after 3 hours, connected. But they're like, "Oh, thank God you're okay." Like we didn't know how to contact each other. It was so crazy.
I imagine like that scene in Life Aquatic where like they're all standing on the hill and they're all pointing. You know, like in the Steve Zissou is like pointing.
Yeah, that's funny.
I got a question for you guys.
Yes.
Because I was like trying to do some research on the side. So actually, there's two things. One, I don't know if it's me or okay. So this film has like two different dates. Because okay, I noticed that somewhere it says like 2004, and then somewhere else it says 2008. Can anybody explain that?
One.
Yeah, because the one that's on HBO Max is 2008, but it shows that it's also
Wikipedia says it originally
remastered?
premiered at Slam Dance in January of 2004 and did not see a wider release until 2008. So that's your answer right there.
There you go.
Okay.
Interesting.
It was made for a
That
budget
makes
of
sense.
$3,000, guys.
That kind of makes sense.
$3,000.
What?
Because like when what's that? The Toxic Avenger was released in 2024 at some other. They premiered it at a certain film festival. I can't remember which. I think it was like I can't remember. I'm not gonna try.
I remember you
But
mentioning that. Yeah.
They finally released it this year, so it was debuted like actually first screened in 2024, but debuted in 2025.
It was nominated for the John Cassavetes Award at the 2008 Independent Spirit Awards. It also won the Grand Jury Prize at the Nashville Film Festival. And its total box office haul, by the way, was $69,816. From a $3,000 budget, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. You
That's
used
not
the
bad.
ADDV? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Time to
what
go
I
Del
was feeling
Taco.
back in those days, man.
My second question is, does anybody? Because I was trying to look it up. Does anybody know what restaurant they filmed at, and if it's still around? Because I didn't see anything. It just shows.
It doesn't say on Wikipedia.
It just shows that like there's one thing I searched and it said like the restaurant no longer exists due to bankruptcy in 2008, but it didn't give me a name of the restaurant, and so like it ended up saying like a place called Bennigan's, but I'm like, that doesn't sound right at all.
No.
It doesn't sound like a Chinese restaurant. So I don't know if anybody knows like if that restaurant's still around or whatnot, or what the name of it was, or because it's a real restaurant, but like I want to know if like it's a place that you can still visit or not.
My only three sources are IMDb, Wikipedia, and ChatGPT, and they're all struggling to pull information tonight. So, I don't know what the name of the restaurant is, but
We'll have to ask Sean.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Sean Baker on the show.
We'll have him
Reach
on
out
the
to
show.
his agent. Yeah. Let's talk about the ending, though, because I really want to talk about the ending. The ending is one of the most disheartening things I've ever seen in a Sean Baker film or otherwise, where Ming finally, he goes on one last delivery of the night, for the night, and he gets the cash, and he gets in the elevator, and two douchebags, as I refer to them as,
Wanksters.
get on, and they rob him. They have a little dialogue exchange like, oh, who's going to pay for the bus? Oh, I thought you were going to. And then they just turn to Ming and they fucking rob him. And yeah, I mean, what are our thoughts on that, Arnold? How did that scene make you feel? Because I was going to ask, what's the emotional high point? I feel like that's the emotional high point in this story.
Yeah, for sure.
How did that make you feel, Arnold? What was your reaction to that?
The Asian dude, how he wore his hat like backwards, but then it was covering his eyebrows, and then he said the N-word more than the black dude.
I was gonna say, what's up with that? Because he was Asian and he was dropping that like it was going out of style. Excuse me, my voice is going out of style. What was up with that?
From New York.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. That's. I mean,
Is that
I
a
went
New York
to
thing, I guess.
I don't know.
I went to school. I mean, I had to say like back then it was. People wouldn't be like, "Hey, no, you can't say that." I would even say that to like back then to other black people, but like as a term of endearment. But like I don't know, the cultures change, and like now we don't do that. But like last
You're talking
week
like early 2000s, late 90s, probably, right?
Mm-hmm. Back when we wore tall tees and super baggy pants still. And,
I don't want to get too deep into this, but here's the thing. Are Asian people in some shows and movies, modern shows and movies I've seen, they're referred to as being people of color. Do you guys see it that way? Are Asians considered people of color by and large, or do you have a different take on that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're absolutely.
Yeah.
We're absolutely people of color.
Okay. Well, no, I'm glad that's why I'm asking, because like in the mini project that's come up, and like what's that show with Issa Rae? I I can't remember the show's name, but it comes up in these more modern TV shows and movies. So is that Arnold why you think it was acceptable? Go ahead.
I think what it is people like have placed this sort of like you've heard the whole term of token Asian in circles, you know, of friends or.
I used to be a token Asian.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
But I haven't toked in a while.
You set that right up for him, Alex. You know you did.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
But yeah, he was. It was this thing, you know. Asians are always seen as this like the example, but then that's the thing about like the plight being of being Asian. We're seen as the model immigrant, you know.
Right.
But that's far from the case, you know. There's like so many of us who actually don't care to be this like person who like follows the rules and wants to go to college. And I certainly wasn't that type of Asian. I didn't care to go to. I hated school, you know. I that was the last thing I wanted to place where I wanted to be. You know, I just wanted to play guitar. I wanted to like do fun, interesting things with art, music, or whatever it was. And you couldn't learn that from school, and that certainly wasn't the typical token Asian. We talk about it when we talked about that movie Dee Dee, right? The kid, he was growing up, and he wasn't a token Asian kid. His mom wasn't trying to be the tiger mom, but she was being, you know, she had this pressure, societal pressure within Asian culture to be the tiger mom, but she wasn't. She was like an artist as well, so she knew the plight. So that's a different movie, but that's the thing with like Asians in general, you know, like
right. And I asked these, and I forgive me if these questions are stupid, by the way. I don't know fully, so I'm curious. And Arnold mentions that about growing up and how that was considered just fine in his social group. So I just wonder, like, what is the connective tissue there, I guess. So
well, I think Arnold didn't use the hard R when saying it as well.
No.
Yeah, no.
Right. But besides that, because you're right, he says that a lot, Arnold. He drops it out. But yeah, like, what was your initial thoughts? Like, how were you feeling during that scene?
Oh, I was just thinking like, oh man. Okay, so he was keeping his money in that jar, and then he went through and he counted all of it, and it was like, oh, he got enough, and he was good. But then they get that one last call, and it's like, okay, she's like, or was it Big Sister is all like, oh, we're closed. No, we're closed. Okay, how many order? And then, and Ming takes goes and delivers it. I couldn't help but think of a time. Now, I didn't get robbed of money, but I did get robbed of sleep. So one time when I used to drive for Uber, I was like, I love driving in downtown Palm Springs because I was like, you know, you get the party crowd. They're wanting to get rides to different places, and they're like half a mile away. They don't know where to go, but like it was like one after another. In an hour, I get like 8-10 rides, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, I'm getting tired. Okay, I'm gonna take this last one. It was like 1:15, 1:20 in the morning, and then this was before it would alert you like, okay, this is a ride that's gonna be out of town. I just like hit it.
Oh no!
I was like, okay, because I don't want anybody else to get it. It was kind of different back in the day. It was kind of a little bit more Wild Wild West kind of Uber days. And so I tapped it, not even realizing what it said. I was just like, oh, Palm Springs, sweet. And then I pull up to the house, and then this girl, she's wheeling out her like a luggage. And then I look at my phone. I'm like, shit, I'm going to LAX.
Oh fuck!
And then I had to make a decision. How much did that pay,
by the way? Do you remember?
Well, I paid that before.
Like $220.
You took the fare?
I took the fare, and then I was like, okay, I'm tired, but I was like, okay, well, it was either
drive.
I know 2-hour drive going there,
one way, yeah, without traffic.
And then it was really stupid because I didn't even have a phone charger. You know, imagine being an Uber driver and you don't have a phone charger in your car. And so then I kept on like closing the like the screen, so that way it would I would lock it so that it doesn't use up the battery. And it was like nice that I got $220, but then by the time I actually got home, I tried like hitting up different people. I tried hitting up our cousin Lance to see if I can crash at his place, but then he's like, "Oh, I'm at work right now." I'm like, "Oh," because he was working the graveyard shift. I'm like, damn. And I was ended up getting stuck in traffic because there was an accident. I was so tired. By the time I actually got back home, it was like almost 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh shit!
And then this was Saturday going into Sunday, so I get home, and then my day's like all thrown off, and I don't want to like. I could have slept until like 4 in the afternoon, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep that night, and I got to work the next day. So then I didn't feel normal until like Wednesday, and then by then I was like, that $220 was not worth it. I got robbed of sleep.
That's me now. Anytime I go out, I'm like, fuck me, this is gonna throw me off for 48 hours.
Oh my god! Wow.
I did that one time, Arnold, and I never did one again. Actually, no, I did do it 2 times actually. I did one from Palm Springs to like San Diego, like the Bay Area of San Diego, and then another time I did one from Palm Springs to LA as well.
Why
Actually,
is the app doing that at
too.
all? The app should not be doing that.
Well, like Arnold was saying, is that like there's a point in time where they just didn't tell you where you were going. They don't even tell you like how much the ride is worth. You just had to take it or
But
whatever.
they should still geolock you within like a certain radius, not 2 hours outside of your.
You
I
find
believe
out
people
when
paid for that
you
shit.
start-
That's crazy.
Yeah, and mine was like $250 for the San Diego trip. That shit was crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, yeah, dude. It like the payout was cool and all, but that it definitely wasn't worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised this movie then didn't have a scene of Ming taking Chinese food to Connecticut or something, you know. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Go to New York.
Man.
14-day ride. Oh shit.
But
Amazing.
But man,
the scene made you feel remorseful, right, Arn?
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
to the
It
movie.
was like, so much like, oh, if they didn't take that last order, if he gave it to Young, or
Or be taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
oh yeah, that too.
Although I don't know
Damn,
how high
man.
up he was. That might have not been practical. Wow.
But shout out to the homie, the cook, who knew that he can tell. Oh, and he saw like his bruise, which there's a part that I fell asleep on, and like right before the recording, I fast forwarded to the part that I noticed that I had missed, and it was a part when he peeks through the door and sees Ming looking at himself, checking out his bruise.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was that part. But man, yeah, how he helps him out. He's just like, how much you need, and like he just knew. Like, man, good guy.
I thought it was going to end on a sour note, but yeah, his friend, his coworker came in clutch. And helped
He wasn't
him out
even
in the
his
end.
friend though. He like almost got in a fight with him, and I think that's the whole thing with like that whole like relatability and compassion, the empathy that like is created when you are an immigrant. You see other immigrants struggle, and so you may not get along with them, but for stupid reasons, but you see what they're dealing with, and you start to like connect the dots, and like, okay, well, they're going through the same struggles that I had when I first came to America. And he was even saying, I remember in the what do you call it, the lunch scene, they were saying like, this I got here before 9/11, so it was like the circumstances and all the legal stuff that you had to deal with is like way more complicated after 9/11.
And yeah, and even with or without 9/11 and even being a factor, like it could take decades to become a citizen. I think it's a little bit of a fast track if you marry somebody who's a citizen, right? But even then, it's still like, takes time, it takes money,
and it's a lot of money. I mean, it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. It's one of the cheapest ways to get your green card, I guess.
Yeah.
If you just pay for a marriage.
Yeah, because my parents got married in '85, and my dad didn't become a citizen till like early 2000s. So
Yeah.
you know, it took some time, and it's crazy to think about now because, like, what the hell happened in 2000s? Like, I feel like that was just barely
you have to think
yesterday.
about it too. Is like if you pay for a marriage too, it does take time. It's and also they split the payment. It's a $10,000 fee. I know this. Don't ask me why.
It's like, hey, you seem very informed. Just kidding.
Arnold, Donnie, shut up. But if you do a paid marriage type of deal, arranged marriage, it's $10,000. $5,000 at the beginning up front. You get paid $5,000 up front. And then at the end, I think it's, if you're going for the full, like, I'm going to get my citizenship, you get more money if you like wait the like 8 years. But if you just do the 3 years for the green card, it's like you get 10 grand, like total $5,000 at the beginning and $5,000 at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a process for sure, and that's a big part of this movie. But yeah, the ending was disheartening, obviously. But then, you know, like at the end, his coworker comes in and helps him out, and it ends in I guess on a happy note, you could say. But I still feel like there was something there that, even though he got the money in the end, there was still something there. I felt that, like, what is the next thing he's gonna have to deal with, right? Just being,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
like
because I don't think that
him like
paid off his debt.
Yeah, he didn't.
No, you don't see him.
Right? It was just paying.
Yeah.
No.
He's just talking about paying off that.
Yeah,
that he owes
portion,
that month.
like,
oh, that's right. Yeah, that wasn't even the whole
And-
balance, I guess.
And then they
Right?
said
No.
that we'll
Yeah.
work out a payment plan after you've paid what you need to owe now. Yeah.
so he just made it through today. His lights didn't get turned off.
I forgot that kind of contextualizes a lot.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's the movie. That's Takeout. I was gonna go around the room with asking you, but I think we can just do that in final thoughts now, if that's okay with you guys. Unless there was something else you wanted to touch on, anybody, or are we good to start wrapping her up? How do we feel, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
I don't feel anymore, Adrian.
I'm just
all right.
craving
Yeah.
some Chinese
What's that,
food
Arnold?
now. I'm just craving some Chinese food now.
Okay. No.
Yeah,
well,
same.
Yeah. But yeah, let's do final thoughts. Justin, I'll start with you. Final thoughts on Takeout.
Yeah, so I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna go the Adrian route this time and just read what I wrote on Letterboxd. So,
Charge you a
but
fee for that.
I just a fee $4.25. Anyway,
6, 7.
oh God, I'm gonna kill you tonight. Anyway, I'm just gonna read my Letterboxd review. Anyway, so I said, I've had a short time working in the food industry and spent a lot of time as a delivery driver. I know the struggle of needing to hustle to make a payment on something I owe. If it was rent or a phone bill, that feeling sucks and it is somewhat relatable to me. I've never in my life had to deal with loan sharks. I am also not very good at math, but 30% interest on anything is insanity. I guess in the wake of disparity, logic goes completely out the window. Why do these bad people in movies always say, "We're not running a charity"? Maybe that is just saying, we are not empathetic to your situation. This film is very melancholic hellscape, but through the veil there is sunlight. Even though it rained the entirety of the time, his friends and coworkers were willing to help if you were in trouble, taking care of one another in the bleakness of this rotten city. I love the Sean Baker filming style. It makes it seem like I worked a full shift alongside Ming. This film makes me want to go support a small Chinese restaurant. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my review of this whole
love
thing.
it.
I give it a 3.5 stars. Honestly, I would probably watch this movie again. I may even just go through and do a whole Sean Baker marathon. So
Yeah.
this movie inspired me to do a Sean Baker marathon.
Nice.
And,
Where can people find you?
You can find me, GhostNerd88, or Shibs the Zombie on social media. Go and click the links in my, about me or my info pages, and you can kind of see all the things that I'm doing. I'm not really doing much except for this right now. But hey, who knows what the future will bring.
Love it. That was a great. Thank you for that, Justin. Really appreciate that. Donnie, I'll go to you next. What are your final thoughts on Takeout?
Yeah, so you know what? I didn't like the movie when I first started, right? It's so crazy. I think it was just one of those moments where I wasn't really in the mood to watch a movie, right? And so I didn't really get into it, and it wasn't till the end until I realized how invested I was in this character, right? And I started really understanding the whole purpose of the movie, and so it kind of changed my whole perspective. It actually, like you feel empathetic and connected to that character, and the movie itself is thought provoking. It encouraged me to really like revisit the story of my family, and since my parents were an immigrant family that moved to America, right? I think this movie really gives a platform for anyone who has a language barrier. Honestly, we don't really see or understand the struggles of these people, right? Because it's hard for us to relate or even understand their story because they can't communicate it properly. So I think Sean Baker did a really good job, or both directors did a really good job at giving us that platform to help understand the life and struggle of an immigrant that's chasing that American dream. And they're willing to do anything and everything, for their family. And at the same time, they have to do all that while staying under the radar because they're illegal. And so they have that struggle as well on top of that. So, that was like the highlight for me of the movie and really like changed my perspective on it. But again, like at the beginning, I was like, oh man, this is going too slow for me. Like I'm not really feeling it. And then once that happened and it all came together and I realized what was going on, it really pulled me in. So at the end of the day, I give this movie a 3.5. I thought it was a really good watch. I would definitely watch it again. You can find me on Instagram _Donnie Appleseed. Also 125 Photography, all spelled out. Also on Instagram.
Nice. Thank you for that. That was a great, 100% on everything you said. All right, Alex, let's go to you next. What's your final thoughts on Takeout?
Takeout was something that I was encouraged to watch, not only because of the tie to the San Diego Asian Film Festival, and Sean Baker, but I remember watching an interview with Mikey Madsen on the Criterion channel, where she goes to the Criterion closet and she pulls out a copy of Takeout, and she talks about how this was Sean Baker's first film. I was like, that as much as, because I really loved Honora. I thought that was a really great film. And the fact that Sean Baker said, you should go back and watch my first film to see what you think. I want to hear what you think. Because in Honora, it takes place in the big cities as well. So they use the city as a character, same way as like in Takeout. So I can imagine you see that's why I saw the fingerprints of Sean Baker all over Honora. He has that really amazing quality of being able to take the place that a movie is set in and turning it into a character. You see that in Florida Project. You see that in Honora. I haven't seen a lot of his films, but I would imagine that's how he
Tangerine had that as well in L.A.
Yeah.
It's two transgender prostitutes and a day in their life, and it's amazing. I recommend that to anybody. Watch Tangerine.
Yeah, that's been on my list for a while. I've been meaning to watch it, go back, but I think overall you see he's also able to delve into the nuts and bolts of it all. Like you see just how a restaurant works. Like I was watching this movie and I was seeing it from this perspective of running a restaurant. Like I've been in the food industry since 2019, right? And seeing how they order like bulk items and seeing the struggle having to carry up that big old barrel of MSG up the stairs. It just reminds me of like the first time I had to deal with very recently having to deal with handling a big gigantic, it was like 150 pounds worth of coffee beans. That was the first time I ever had to like handle like that much coffee or coffee roasting in general. And the first time I did that, I did the stupid thing and I drug the whole bag. It was like dragging a dead body across from one side of the store to the back of the room. I was like, why didn't my boss was like, next time just take the buckets out there and just fill it from up there. I was like, thanks. Thanks for telling me. But yeah, that's part of the struggle of like what these people have to deal with day in and day out. You know, the restaurant worker, the fact that the people just treat them like trash. You know,
Yeah, it's manual labor. It's not digging ditches, but it's still manual labor, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, not just net manual labor, but the customer facing part of it. You know, you look at Ming. He's technically front of house, right? And they have the shit job. People, servers, counter service people, you know, bussers, bartenders. They got the shit end of the deal because if something bad goes wrong with the food in the back of the house, they're the ones that are getting yelled at. Like he delivers the food. He had nothing to do with the making of like that stir fry that he wanted. That guy, I wanted beef, not chicken. And, you know, it's like, I'm sorry, don't yell at me. It's like I get that they made the item wrong, but it's not my fault. And the people who've never worked in the service industry don't get that.
Don't get it.
You know, they don't understand. That's one of those things that frustrates me. Anyways, I don't want to get too much in the weeds with like that. I could stand on my soapbox about like the food industry, and like
You could talk about
people
that
just
for
need
hours.
Yeah, like don't ever like my advice. If you're a customer and you're yelling at like you need to like check yourself.
Yeah, don't mess with people who are handling your food. I live by that. I will never ever yell at somebody who's handling my food.
I don't care.
I've seen waiting. I know what happens.
You tip. Like you tip them something. You don't
at least 18%. Yeah. Don't go below 18%.
Yeah.
But you either tip them or you fucking pay them a living wage so they don't need tips. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole series of documentaries right there.
Exactly. Again, I love like how they show not just the adaptability of restaurants, but like especially Asian, like minority groups, immigrant groups adapting to an area. Like they're a Chinese restaurant, but they're serving like French fries, fried bananas, you know, Mexican squid was
chicken
one of the
wings.
dishes. Mexican squid. Like they're a Chinese restaurant and they were serving Mexican squid. Okay, but that just shows the innovation, like a willingness to adapt to things. That
I don't know the Mexicans had squid, so that's new to me.
I mean, I'm sure it was just like jalapenos with like hot sauce or with squid, you know. I think they showed that scene where he's like tossing a bunch of like jalapenos in the wok or whatever.
I did catch that, yeah.
Yeah, but overall, it's again, you could love this movie on so many different levels. It's like you mentioned, Adrian. It's a simple plot, very simple story, but the complexity lies in so many things, like the immigrant struggle, you know, race struggles, this is simple everyday human relatability of it all. For me, I gave, because of that and how like well the story was told, I gave it a 4 out of 5. And you can find me at Daily Dares on all the socials.
The adaptability thing, you're so right about that. And that's the thing too, is like, we're so privileged to be Americans. Even when we leave our country to go to other countries, you know how many countries have English, signs in English, people like talking in English to you. It's like the world wants to cater to us because of the big American dollar. But it's like, do we appreciate that as a nation? I don't know that we really do. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Can I make a quick thing because it came to my mind?
Absolutely.
I actually, something about that restaurant also that I greatly appreciated was that it was actually very well taken care of and very clean, except for one scene. And I don't know, maybe it was just because it went by so quick, it just looked like it, but they were like using the tongs to pick up like raw meat, and then they put the tongs into something else. I don't know if it was like an empty thing with water or what, but I was like, immediate cross contamination.
Oh no! I don't know if you remember seeing it. It's in the scene where they're eating at the table. They talk about that. And they're like one of the cooks is complaining to the other cook like, you did it wrong, and they're like, you don't put like certain things with certain things, and he was just talking about how his cleanliness wasn't there.
Yeah. But other than that, the restaurant was very clean. I just wanted to point that out. Very well kept.
Thank you. I too noticed that, and I found their cleaning interesting because I saw them cleaning the wok with the chemicals, but they were, I don't know, it looked weird the way they were doing it, but maybe that I just don't understand. I've never worked in the restaurant.
I know what you're talking about.
Those Chinese restaurants, like those wok burners, they're just kind of like set up way differently than like normal restaurant burners. Like the way you clean a wok is you don't just put it in like in a dish pit and like clean it off with like soap and water, because you can't. It would ruin the what they call the seasoning of the wok.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because they would take all that out, and actually even remove the non-stickability of the wok when you wash it with soap and water. So you just wash it with. That's why they have that faucet that leads into the woks. You just pour water directly into the wok. They scrape it out with like that brush, and then there's like this pit behind it. If you notice, that's why when they were washing the wall, they were just taking the water from the wok and washing it from the wall, because everything just like
that's what it was. I was like, why are they doing that?
No, it was just like hot water. They were just using hot water. That's all it was.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you learn something new every day. And well, this is really a dumb aside, but I did go to Panda Express, which if you guys have never been there, I highly recommend it, by the way.
I've never been. Is it good?
They have an auto walk. They have like a machine in the back. It's got like a robot arm and it's got a walk, and
I've seen that.
You mentioned this a couple episodes ago.
I'm fascinated by the
again.
technology, man, and that's why I need to think and use my own brain. Okay, enough about that. Arnold, let's get your final thoughts, my friend, and then you know what comes after that. But let's get your final thoughts first.
So
I'm laughing already.
The way it started, you know how the two guys are looking for Ming, and they roll up to was it an apartment?
I believe so, yeah.
And then the apartment, they got like 10 people up in there, and I was like, you know,
with cockroaches.
Yeah,
that's legit.
I mean,
that's legit.
That's very, very real. I know of a friend who was telling me about a local Asian establishment out here that has a where he is like the owner, and then a lot of the people who work there, they live at like one of their houses, and then then there's like 16 people in there, and then they're all, you know, they come here and they pay like very low rent, but then like their families are back home and they make money here and they send them back.
Dude,
back to the family.
Built
like
different, right?
Yeah, and
sure.
they just work, and they work like all day. But
we have one of those in our neighborhood. Like they all work at the Asian buffet, and every morning you see them all take their bicycles. They all ride their bicycles, and they all live in the same house. There's like 10 of them.
There was actually a house. I don't know if they're still there. Right down the street from us. I remember I'd always see a bunch of like, I don't know if they're like Vietnamese or Thai or Chinese, but I remember one day they had their garage door open, and I saw like bags of like all the dry goods that they need for like a restaurant. They had like sugar, they had like rice. I was like, dang, dude. And then I remember I realized like, oh yeah, I always see a ton of people like Asians just coming out of there. So yeah, that tracks.
Wow.
over there in San Diego?
Yeah, right down the street from like right in our community.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they're still there, but I haven't seen them in a while.
One of my old roommates is from New York, and I was talking to her one day while we were eating, and she's like, you should convert your living room into like a bedroom and put like 5 bunk beds in there. She's like, you can make a killing. I was like, this is not New York. I was like, I'm not doing that to my
You don't
house.
want to be a slum. That's basically slumlord conditions, right? Anyway.
But she was like serious. She was like, man, you can
I'm
make
sure
so much
she was.
money.
And she's probably right, too. The sad thing is she's probably right.
She said when she rented out a bunk in New York, she would pay $500 for the bunk. And then
Wow.
What?
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, she said that was cheap.
Arnold, tell us more about your thoughts on capitalism, though. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Imagine all like like what, sharing like one bathroom. Damn. No, but that was my first thought, and watching it was like, oh, I think I kind of talked about it where like, you see him just delivering food one after another. I keep thinking like, okay, is there something that's gonna happen when he's delivering? But no, he just keeps. You end up going through like his whole entire day. Starts raining and stuff like that. Yeah. At first, I was kind of like, oh, damn, that was kind of a boring movie. But talking about it and thinking about it more, like Sean Baker, he really made the most out of such a simple story, simple plot.
Definitely.
And it was something about it, especially the way how it was filmed. It really felt like it was a documentary or something. And when I turned it on again, I don't know, my mood was different today than yesterday. Going back to watch a couple parts, I was like, man, this looks like some old Anthony Bourdain sort of video or something, like the way that it was a shot, like some shots of Young in the restaurant, and he's just chilling there chewing on some carrots and broccoli stems or whatever. But yeah, I after talking about it more, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very good, and I was talking with Chris about this movie at work because he didn't watch it, but initially I was like, oh yeah, you're going through the whole day, his whole day of just delivering food, and it ends like the climax to me at the end where he makes his money and then he gets robbed, and but there's a lot more to that, especially now that we're like talking about it, and I was initially thinking that I was going to give it a 2.5, but I have to bump it up to a 3. A Letterboxd 3 score.
Heck yeah.
And I told her, I think you guys had mentioned, I didn't realize that this was a Sean Baker movie, or that Sean Baker also did Honora and Florida Project.
Yeah.
Man,
Florida. Yeah.
I like his style. I can't quite describe it, but I like it.
He has a very distinct raw style that I mentioned earlier. It reminds me of like the Safdie brothers as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's that
They call
like,
it-
raw.
hyper realism.
From what the internet calls it, they call it social reality style.
I saw that. That's fascinating. I never heard of that before until tonight. I'm going to look into that more.
Yeah.
Well,
like
thanks.
that.
Where can people find you, Arnold, by the way?
Oh, you can find me Arnie Kalego everywhere on all the socials. Trying to be more,
All right,
a little
Arnold.
more
Well,
active.
It's that time of the show. It's that time of the show where you give us the Arnold snooze meter. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, go ahead.
That was kind of a real yawn, kind of.
When are you going to
okay.
actually add a sound bite for it?
I need to actually do that because I done that
Want me
in
to
past
record it for you?
episodes.
I'll do a voiceover for it.
Well, if you want to, actually, I might be able to utilize that. So we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it.
Go
You
ahead.
can do like a little story.
That's it right there. I'm gonna clip that. Arnold, you just cut a promo. See, I'm learning now. Go ahead.
Well, last night I did watch this movie last night, and we also recorded last night.
Yes.
And so I thought I fell asleep for a good chunk, but then when I before jumping on the recording tonight, I fast forwarded, and I think it was probably only like 5 minutes that I fell asleep, and it was the part around the part where Ming is looking at his bruise on his back, just around there, and then I caught up, and so with I mean everything considered how late. But then Donald, you kind of called it. You're like, "Oh, dude, you haven't watched it yet. You're gonna fall asleep." But
Because I was falling asleep. That's why I said that. But then, like I said, later down the line, I was like, okay, good movie.
But I think I'd give it a half a Z. Half a Z rating. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So
Well, I like it.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I like it, and I'm curious to hear from you, B00.
Thank you, Arnold, for
BOOTZ
that.
too big. Do you like it? What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, I will read my letterbox review, which I wrote right before we started recording. What a time capsule of the early 2000s. No smartphones, no social media, just post 9/11 New York, and a guy named Ming trying to survive a brutal day of delivering Chinese food. Two loan sharks rough him up for cash, and he spends the rest of the movie hustling across the city, one soggy takeout bag at a time. Sean Baker and Shih-Ching Tsou keep it so raw you can practically smell the fried rice and sweat. It's not about plot. It's about the grind, the constant motion, the tiny indignities, the people who make the city run but are never get noticed. And then Ming finally gets close to making his money. He gets robbed in an elevator, which is a total gut punch. But there's a spark of humanity at the end. His coworker helps him out, not because he deserves it, but because that's what you do when you're trying to survive. Under 90 minutes, it moves fast, never boring. Baker's early fingerprints are all over this. It's a gritty, empathetic, and real story, and you can see the road leading straight to Tangerine, Red Rocket, the Florida Project, and Honora. Small, sweaty, and kind of heartbreaking. A working-class odyssey through the city that never tips. And that's my review on Letterboxd. I gave this movie 4 stars out of 5. Because of the gritty realism and the gritty relatability, knowing personally as well that the struggle is real. So there you have it, folks. I want to thank really quick the chat, Mr. Ghost Nerd 80. Oh, sorry, that's just Mr. HLP who joined us tonight. Chris, friend of the show, he was in the chat tonight too for a little bit. So thanks to the chat for that. Was somebody going to say something? I heard someone say something.
Yeah, I forgot to mention. So you guys mentioned. So they did a movie called Tangerine.
Yes, which was shot all on an iPhone 6 or 5 or whatever it was at the time,
And that was in L.A.?
Yeah, that took place. I believe they shot it in L.A. Took place in L.A. It follows the day of 2 transgender prostitutes in L.A. And just kind of it's very similar to this in the sense of just like the day in the life of these people. It's really well made, so I highly recommend it. Go ahead.
Because I remember when I was looking for hotels to stay at during the Saturn Awards, one of the hotels in Burbank was called the Tangerine, and it was. I wonder. I tried looking it up now, but I didn't see any connection. But it's somewhat of a. It hasn't been there for like decades. But it was a newly remodeled hotel, I think. Mm-hmm. And but when I remember looking into it, it has kind of like almost like an artsy vibe. I just wonder if there was a connection there.
I don't think so, but you should check out the movie. It's great.
Also, let's not forget that this is a co-directed film, and Shih-Ching Tsou. Let's definitely not forget that she was part of this team. And for those of you who are watching this film, go watch her film, her new film, Left-Handed Girl. It's coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm gonna go see it this Saturday. Which, like I said, it's probably gonna pass. The San Diego Film Festival will be done and over with by the time this gets released. But if you're watching this or listening to this now, make note of that, and if you're listening to this in the future, go watch this film. If it's, I'm hoping it's probably been released by the time this podcast comes out. Let's not overlook her involvement.
No, definitely. And I'm glad you say that, because I wanted to mention that she's a collaborator with Sean Baker. She's served as a producer, executive producer on his other films, including Tangerine, The Florida Project, and Red Rocket. So she's worked with him on 4 films, and obviously has her own projects coming out. So yeah, Left-Handed Girl. Do we know, Alex, is that going to be on a wide release, or is that going to be released on looks like Netflix as well? I
feel it's going to be released in Netflix, I think, next month.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, Wikipedia says November 28th, so this month,
shortly.
Actually, just in time for this episode to come out. That's perfect.
Okay, well,
Thanksgiving weekend.
That's good. You can find me on Letterboxd at Boots Too Big. You can find the show all over the internet. Guys, we're everywhere. We are on X. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook. You can't escape us. NeverSeenItPodcast.com. Email us at podcast.neverseenit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Have you seen Takeout? Have you worked in the restaurant biz? Do you have a life that's kind of like the bear or something. I don't know. I haven't watched The Bear, but I'm told that it's a good show. Alex, right? You're a fan. So tell us about that. Comment, leave us a comment of love. Why not? We'll read it on the show, as you know. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to us, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts from. If you like the show, share it, leave us a review. Big thanks to Mr. Kyle Mapson of Burn Cycle for our intro and outro music. You can follow Kyle on Instagram at selfies_food_and_pets. Thanks for listening. Any final thoughts from the gentleman?
I have a quote to share with you.
Please.
It's a quote from the movie, and I found it quite inspiring, and I feel like it would be a good way to end this show on. Ooh. And the quote is, "A boat straightens its course when it gets to a bridge. Everything is going to be all right."
I like that.
Love that.
I remember that.
I remember that.
I forgot about that. Now I remembered. Now that you said it, thank you for that.
There are honestly quite a few memorable quotes. I wanted to go and write them all down. I was like, oh man, that was good. That was one of the good ones. I really like that one a lot.
Yeah. If you weren't going to say anything, or if anybody wasn't going to say anything, I was just going to reiterate again. For me, I at least tip 20%. Tip. On the original amount.
I tip a head of time.
See you now.